You open the cupboard. You weren't even hungry, but your hand reaches past the apples, past the bread, and finds the chocolate hiding in the back. You tell yourself it's just willpower failing, but the real answer is far stranger. That craving isn't weakness, it's a message written into your brain hundreds of thousands of years before chocolate existed. And right now, that ancient message is being used against you. Here is the truth you were never told. Your brain doesn't crave sugar because it's broken. It craves sugar because it's doing exactly what it evolved to do. For nearly all of human history, sweetness meant one thing: safe, ripe, full of energy. Nothing in the wild that tasted sweet would ever hurt you. So your ancestors who chased that taste survived. The ones who ignored it did not. You are the descendant of the cravers. Your sweet tooth is not a flaw in your design. It is your design. Travel back 2 million years. Your ancestor is small, slow. They have no claws, no fangs, no fur to keep them warm. They survive on one thing above all else: energy. And the most powerful energy source in their world was sugar. Not the white powder in a bag, the sugar locked inside fruit, inside honey, inside roots. Finding it could mean the difference between living through winter and not. So your brain built a reward system around it. A simple, brilliant rule: find sweetness, feel pleasure, remember where you found it, do it again. But how does that rule actually work inside your head? Deep in your brain sits a small structure tied to reward. When sugar touches your tongue, signals fire. A chemical called dopamine is released. Now, most people think dopamine is the pleasure itself. It isn't. Dopamine is the wanting. It's the chemical of the chase. It doesn't say this feels good. It says go get more of this. So every time sugar hits, your brain doesn't just enjoy it. It learns. It marks that moment as important. It builds a path that says return here again and again. And this system was perfect for the world it was built in. In the ancient world, sugar was rare. You might find a tree of ripe figs once a season, a honeycomb a few times a year. So your craving never hurt you. There was never enough sweetness around to overwhelm a system designed to chase it. The hunger and the supply were balanced. Your brain could crave with everything it had, and the world would simply never give it too much. That balance held for 1,000,000 years. And then something changed. Here is the twist nobody tells you. The problem was never your craving. The problem is that the world changed faster than your brain could. Your ancient reward system is still running the original code. Find sweetness, chase it, never stop. But the world it lives in is gone. Today, sugar isn't rare. It's everywhere. It's engineered. It's concentrated far beyond anything found in nature. A single soda holds more sugar than your ancestor might find in a week of searching. And your brain doesn't know the difference. It just sees the signal it was built to chase, multiplied 1,000 times over. Think about what that does. In nature, the dopamine signal would rise gently, then settle. Now it spikes. Hard. Higher than your brain was ever meant to feel. And here's the trap. When you flood a reward system over and over, it adapts. It turns down its own sensitivity. So the next time, the same amount of sugar feels like less. You need more to reach the same feeling. This is the same loop seen in addiction. Not because sugar is a drug exactly, but because it pulls the same ancient levers, harder than nature ever intended. And someone figured this out. The food around you is not an accident. There are people whose entire job is to find the exact amount of sugar that makes your brain crave the most. They call it the bliss point, the precise sweetness where you want more but never feel full. Too little, and you stop. Too much, and you stop. But hit that point exactly, and you keep reaching. Your ancient survival instinct, the one that kept your ancestors alive, has been measured, mapped, and sold back to you in a wrapper. So now look at that moment in the kitchen again. You standing there, hand reaching for chocolate, not even hungry. That isn't a lack of discipline. That is 2 million years of survival instinct colliding with a world it was never built for. Your brain is doing its job perfectly. It's just playing a game whose rules were quietly rewritten. The craving is real. The hunger feels urgent. But the emergency it's screaming about, the fear of starvation, of never finding sweetness again, that emergency ended long ago. Your brain just never got the message. But knowing this changes something. You can't delete the craving. It's older than language, older than fire, but you can understand what it really is. The next time it hits, you can pause. You can ask a single question. Is this my body needing fuel? Or is this an ancient alarm, triggered by a world that learned how to ring it on purpose? That tiny gap, that moment of noticing, is something your ancestors never needed. They never had to resist sweetness. You do. And awareness is the one tool they never had to give you. There's something almost beautiful hiding in all of this. That craving you fight is the same craving that carried your ancestors through ice ages and famines and 100,000 desperate winters. It is, in a strange way, the reason you exist at all. The chase for sweetness wrote your story. It just doesn't need to write your future. You are not weak for wanting sugar. You are the survivor of everyone who wanted it more. And now, for the first time in that long story, you get to choose what to do with that hunger. So tomorrow, you'll open the cupboard again. Your hand will reach. The craving will rise, sudden and certain, just like it always has. But this time you'll know what it really is. Not weakness, not failure. A message 2 million years old asking you to survive. You can thank it, and then you can decide, because the hunger belongs to your ancestors. But the choice, finally, belongs to you.